Okay, my breakfast. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video I'm going to be doing a full day of only 0-point foods. I've done a few of these challenges where I just only eat 0-point foods on WeightWatchers for the entire day to see, first of all, how I can create meals using only 0-point foods, and it's just a fun challenge to do. I know some people do like 0-point day resets for like 3 days in a row, and I just know that that's not sustainable for me, but I do think it is fun to come up with these 0-point recipes, so that's why I enjoy doing these days every once in a while. If you enjoy this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I can link the playlist with the other 0-point days that I've done. It has actually been a lot of fun, and it's helped me to even come up with recipes that I've continued to make now, especially the oat bake, and I think I might be making that for dessert today, even though I've made it in the past. We'll see how it goes. I don't have a full plan in mind, but I kind of do because I needed to make sure I had the ingredients. So for breakfast today, I'm not going to do eggs. I've done eggs in the past couple videos, and so I wanted to do a breakfast without eggs using only 0-point foods, and I'm going to be doing a yogurt bowl. What I'm going to do is use this Chobani plain non-fat Greek yogurt, which is 0 points on WeightWatchers. Everything is going to be today. I'm going to be tracking every ingredient in WeightWatchers so that I can still have the calories and just see how many foods I actually track, but this is a good source of protein. I'll be doing a cup of it, which is around like 21 grams of protein. It's 90 calories for 3/4 cup, so I'm just gonna do a little bit more than the regular serving. It'll still be 0 points though. And I'm doing an apple cinnamon yogurt bowl. So I've got a Honeycrisp apple here. I like to leave the skin on when I cook it, so I'm just gonna chop it up and put it in a pan on the stove, just in some water. I let that cook for a few minutes covered, continue to mix it around, and then I'm going to add some cinnamon to it, as well as a little bit of this 0 sugar syrup. So usually I'll add like brown sugar or my coconut brown sugar that I like to the apples, but I can't use that today because it's not 0 points. These have been really helpful when I do these 0-point days, just to add a splash of flavor and sweetness when I can't do anything. Even if I wanted to do like honey or something, it's not 0 points. I'll be using a little bit of this with some cinnamon, as well as a splash of vanilla. And actually I was going to spray it with a little of this butter spray so that it's got kind of a buttery flavor to it. Then I'll cook up that apple with the cinnamon. Once that's done, I'll put it on top of my cup serving of yogurt. And then before I do any of that, I'm actually going to take some of these rolled oats, which are 0 points on WeightWatchers. The serving is a half cup for 150 calories and 5 grams of protein. I think I'm just going to do a 1/4 cup, so half of the serving, still 0 points. And then I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this butter spray and some cinnamon, and then that'll be popped in the oven for a little bit to get nice and crispy, and that'll be my topping on my yogurt bowl. So usually I like to do like cereal or granola, and this is my way of doing a little bit of a 0-point granola. I might add a little vanilla to the oats as well. But that's what I'll be doing for breakfast today to get a little bit of protein in. I've got some plans. I need to edit my video today. I'm probably going to go to the local farmer's market. It has switched to the indoor market now, but I'm also in the middle of a step bet, so I need to get at least 16,000 steps today, and I don't have any as of right now. So I'll definitely be making sure to prioritize my steps today, and then just sharing my 0-point meals as I go. Let's get started with breakfast. I wanted to get the oats started right away because I figured they would bake for a little bit. So to them, I added some cinnamon, vanilla, a little butter spray, and then I just mixed that together. I also added a splash of this vanilla sugar-free Torani syrup. Usually when I make oats like this or a crumble topping, I like to add a little bit of brown sugar. So the sugar-free syrup was just a replacement for that and really added some good sweetness. Then I needed to get the apples started, so I've got a pan that I'm just chopping them up and adding them to. I add about 2 tablespoons of water to the apples while they're cooking, and this just helps make them nice and juicy, and when I add some cinnamon and stuff, it kind of solidifies into more of a sauce. Sometimes I'll add cornstarch to thicken up the sauce. I probably could have done that. I think the amount I would have needed is 0 points, but I didn't do that this time, and it still worked out really well. And while the apples are cooking, I do keep them covered. Then once they've been cooking for a little bit, I add some vanilla, a little bit of that sugar-free syrup, and some cinnamon, and I just continue to let them cook. I take the oats out of the oven after they're nice and crispy, usually about 15 minutes or so, and then the apples are also done at the same time, so I put those in a bowl with the yogurt. And then I add the oat topping to finish the yogurt bowl off. I also add a little bit of Flavor God buttery cinnamon roll topper. Okay, my breakfast yogurt bowl is done. I put the apples first. They're still pretty warm, but I like that with my yogurt, especially when I make like the frozen berries and heat them up. I kind of like mixing it together with the yogurt when it's a little bit on the warmer side. I've got my base of cinnamon apples. I put the Greek yogurt and then the toasted oats on top. And then I did sprinkle just a little bit of this buttery cinnamon roll seasoning topper from Flavor God. So that is my finished bowl for 0 points. It comes out to about 342 calories and it's got 24 grams of protein. So pretty good for protein. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all together and have it for breakfast. That yogurt bowl turned out really good. It was nice and filling and the sweetness from the apples was perfect. They were cooked perfectly and mixed together. It was really good with the oats and everything. So I'll definitely be making that again. I really enjoyed it, but I do need some caffeine. Usually I make a protein coffee right now, but the Quest salted caramel protein shakes are not 0 points on WeightWatchers. So I'm just gonna have one of these sparkling iced caffeine drinks, 0 sugar, 0 points on WeightWatchers, and this cherry vanilla flavor is so good. I have only been able to find it at Mariano's, and this can has about, I think 70 milligrams of caffeine. Yeah, 70 milligrams. I'll be having this to get a little bit of caffeine in, 0 points. We are actually about to go walk to the indoor farmers market, so we're gonna go do that now, get some steps in. It'll be tempting because I think my favorite food truck is there and I've been craving it, but I won't be able to have it today. Not a big deal though, it'll just be even better next week when I get it. Anyway, we're about to go walk there, get some steps in, and I will be back with lunch. It was definitely a chilly day for a walk, but I'm always grateful that it is close enough for us to be able to even do this. I made sure to bring my insulated tote bag because I knew I wanted to grab some pierogies. There's that food truck I was talking about that is my favorite, and I wish I could have had it today, but I'll go next week. But it's amazing how many different vendors they have packed into this space, and it's just such an awesome market to get to shop at. Okay, sorry if you can hear the coffee pot in the background. We're making some hot coffee. It was pretty chilly out, but we did walk and get some steps in going to the indoor market. I was gonna quickly share everything that I got. I'm at about 6,000 steps for the day. First thing, we just got some eggs. I needed more sweet honey. I still have some of the hot honey from these guys, but I wanted to get some of the cinnamon, and then I realized he has a deal for 2 of them, so I got my other favorite, which is the bourbon vanilla, and I just use these for different baking recipes, for coffee, tea, anything you need honey for. These are really nicely flavored with bourbon vanilla and cinnamon, and they're creamed, which I like even more. We got some jerky, so this is the peppered flavored jerky that they offer. They've got a bunch of different ones, but this one is our favorite, specifically Trevor's. And then we got some of these egg rolls, which I love these. I get these every time that she's there, and she hasn't been at the outdoor market, so I was very happy to see she was at the indoor one today. I got a loaf of sourdough bread. I get one pretty much every time we go. And then some pierogies, which are so good. She's got all these different flavors, so my all-time favorite is the Reuben pierogi. And then we're trying a new one today, which is chicken tinga. So I'm excited to see how that is. That's everything that I just got from the market. I need to do some editing really quick, so I'm gonna be on my computer working for a little while I drink some of that caffeine. Then we're actually gonna go play pickleball for a little bit, and then I will be back with lunch. Okay, we just got back. We did a very quick round of pickleball because it was super windy out and also just pretty cold, but it felt good to get up and moving a little bit. Now I'm making my lunch really quick, and then I'm just gonna be editing for a little while. So I'm doing chicken tortilla soup today. I figured this would be nice and filling, and I'm honestly just craving soup in general. So what I'm going to do is chop up probably half or quarter of this onion and start cooking it in a pot with some chopped up jalapeno pepper. Then for the veggies I'm using in this, I'm going to use some of this can of diced tomatoes. I think I'm just gonna mix all 3 cans together and then save half of it as a veggie mix and put the other half into the soup. But I've got black beans here that are 0 points, and these help to add some protein and fiber. For the serving of a half cup, it's 110 calories, and it's got 9 grams of fiber and 7 grams of protein. Then I'm also going to use these petite diced tomatoes and a can of corn. I also have some grilled chicken breast here, which is 0 points. Once the veggies have cooked and I add in the chicken stock, which is also 0 points, then I'll cut up the chicken and mix that in, and that will be my chicken tortilla soup. I wanted to do some type of like Greek yogurt on top or something, but I just finished up my chobani with breakfast. So I've got some fat-free cottage cheese, and I just don't really like the texture, but I was thinking about putting it in my handheld blender and making it more of like a creamy texture that I can either put a dollop on top or drizzle or something onto the soup once it's done. But that is everything that I'll be putting putting in there. I already went ahead and tracked everything, and for calories for this soup, it will come out to about 437. And for protein, it's got about 56 grams of protein. So that will be good. I might even up the amount of beans that I do. I might do a half can instead of just one serving, because there's 3.5 servings in here, but I'll just play it by ear. If I adjust it, I'll let you guys know. But I'm gonna start cooking my soup. I debated just making 2 servings out of this soup and using the entire cans, but I ended up using the extras for taco pasta, which worked out even better. It's nice that chicken tortilla soup can be an easy soup that I can just throw together as a single serving, or I can make a large batch of it if I want. And the deciding factor was that I actually didn't have enough chicken to make 2 servings. So for this single serving, I'm opening the can of diced tomatoes, the corn, and black beans, and I'm just going to use half or even less of the can in the pot. I feel like whenever I make chicken tortilla soup, I just kind of measure as I go and don't really follow a specific recipe. You can really mix it up, the different vegetables you use. Sometimes I even like to throw zucchini in there. But I add in the chicken stock and I just let that continue to cook until it starts boiling a little bit. I season the soup with some onion powder, garlic, salt, cumin, and then a little of this Kinder's garlic butter seasoning. I let that continue to simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then I start cutting up the cooked chicken breast that I have. I just let that cook for a few more minutes while I get the cottage cheese blended, which was a little bit of a struggle just because I didn't put enough in there, so I had to keep shaking it, but it did end up working. And then I just used one of my big ramen soup bowls for this. It was a nice large portion, and I topped it with the blended cottage cheese. Okay, here is my giant bowl of chicken tortilla soup. I kind of struggled blending up the cottage cheese because I didn't blend that much at once, so it wasn't really mixing well, but I got it down and it's gonna melt anyway when I mix it in. I was kind of hoping it'll help give it a little creaminess, make it like a chicken enchilada soup, which is one of my favorites. I did update the beans and the corn because I used a little bit more and about a half a can of each, which makes this come out to a total of about 478 calories, and now it is 59 grams of protein. So not much different, but I'm going to eat this for 0 points. I also have some grapes that are 0 points, so I'll have those after to satisfy my sweet tooth, and that'll be my lunch. I'm hoping this is nice and filling. I've got some stuff to get done before dinner, and I'm feeling pretty hungry right now, so I'm excited to eat this. Okay, I have a new little chair set up. Now that I took this chair out of the room I had it before where I ended up putting those shelving units up, I moved it to this corner out here. So now I have a little space to work, which has been really nice. I'm working on editing my video, but I wanted to give you guys an update about the soup. I had to let it cool for a little bit. It is delicious. It definitely didn't get like super creamy because of the cottage cheese. It kind of like curdled up, but it actually does add a good like creamy cheesiness to it. Definitely different than if I would have added Greek yogurt, which would have been really good too. But the soup is so flavorful. I put a lot of cumin and some garlic salt, and it really added a lot of flavor to the veggies and stuff. And I'm really enjoying this. And like I said, it's a nice big portion. So I'll be here for a while eating this, but it turned out really good. I just got some steps on my walking pad while I finished up editing my video, and Adam just got home from work, so we're going to go run to World Market really quickly because I want to pick up a couple things, including some sugar-free syrup, I think, for my dessert that I'll be making. But we're gonna go head out, and then when we get back, it'll be dinner time. I can't even explain how hard it was for me to just go to World Market and only grab one thing. I wanted to look at so much, but I was kind of on limited time, so we really just went and got what we came for, which was these sugar-free syrups. Then I did remember that I needed some Greek yogurt too, so I ran next door to Target to grab some. Okay, we're back from World Market and we got the syrups that I was looking for. So I just wanted to see what different flavors they had for the sugar-free options. I've really been enjoying this brand even more than the skinny syrups that I usually like. So I just want to try a couple different flavors. So I've only had the caramel, but this one I got today is cinnamon vanilla. And then I also got s'mores. So I'm excited to see how those are. I also ran next door to Target really quickly to grab some more Greek yogurt because I used it up earlier and I want to have some for my dessert. And actually I might use a little bit for my dinner too. This is the 0 point plain non-fat Greek yogurt that I like, and I just grabbed some more of this, as well as some blackened chicken, but I already put it in the freezer in the garage because it was on sale, so I got a couple bags of it, and that's just always one of our favorite protein options. But now it is dinner time. I've got some ground chicken in the fridge that I need to use up. I was originally gonna do like chicken burgers with potatoes, but I think I might just crumble up the meat and cook the chicken in a pan like normal, make like ground chicken that way, and just season season it a little bit and then use it as a topping on some fries. I've got some potatoes here that I'm going to... Okay, we just got ding dong ditched and I don't know why that's happened multiple times since we moved here. I don't think that happened once at our old house, but it happens quite often, so really random. It's funny though because we have a ring, so we just see it right away, but the dogs do go nuts. I try to get them to just bark really loud when that happens, but anyway, back to what I was saying. For dinner, I plan to cut up these potatoes and make them into just like fries or something. I haven't even decided how I'm going to cut them up, but I think I'll chop them into the shape of fries, pop them in the oven, and just bake them with some nonstick spray and some seasonings. And then I'm going to make some loaded fries. So when those come out, I'll top them with the ground chicken that I make, as well as some type of sauce that I'm gonna make with this Greek yogurt. I've got some pickles, and I was actually thinking of grilling up an onion. I need to see what vegetables I actually have in there, but that's probably what I will do for dinner. I'm just gonna kind of go with it as I start cooking and see what it turns out to be, but again, only using 0 point foods. So the main protein is going to be the ground chicken, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Originally, I wanted to make waffle fries with these potatoes, but I couldn't find my crinkle cut tool to do that, so regular fries it is, and they turned out really good. I wanted the fries to taste like something from a restaurant. I know they weren't going to be deep fried, but the seasoning that I used, I have one from our local farmer's market that is so perfect for potato chips and fries. It's like an all-purpose seasoning, and that's what I used. To make it easier to season them all at once, I just lined them up together and then did one side, flipped them over, and then spaced them out because you want them spaced out when you're baking them in the oven. Then once they were flipped over, I added a little bit more salt and pepper and that seasoning that I mentioned, and then I popped them in the oven to bake. Doing this really helped to coat them in the seasoning. When I flipped them over halfway through baking, it really stuck on them, and that just gave them so much flavor. But while the fries were in the oven, I started to get the rest of the ingredients ready, so I chopped up the green onion and some pickles. I decided on a buffalo bowl, and I really like buffalo ranch, so I needed to make sure I had some type of buffalo ranch sauce. I just used some Greek yogurt and buffalo sauce mixed with onion salt and ranch seasoning from Trader Joe's. And then I just mixed it until it was combined and put it into an icing bag so I can drizzle it on top of my fries when they're done. I flipped them over halfway and then continued baking them. Then I also started up the ground chicken. Once the chicken was fully cooked, I just used my meat masher to make it into smaller pieces, and then I added some seasonings. I used a good amount of this Kinder's buffalo seasoning, as well as some garlic salt and onion powder, and I just mixed it all together to combine it with the meat. I checked on the fries every 10 minutes or so and moved them around until they were fully done, which I want to say took about 30 minutes. Then once they were done, I divided them up evenly, so Adam and I each pretty much had our own potato. Then I divided up the cooked ground chicken, and we actually ended up splitting the package of 16 ounces, so we each had 8 ounces, which is more than we usually do, but I wanted to get more protein and make this more filling. And then I just topped the bowl with the chopped pickles, green onion, and drizzled it with the buffalo ranch sauce that I made using the Greek yogurt. Okay, I decided to go with a buffalo chicken bowl with fries as the base. I knew it would come to me as I started cooking, and I thought to mix some buffalo sauce with the Greek yogurt and then add some buffalo seasoning to the ground chicken that I cooked up, and it all came together really nicely. I also had a lot of green onion, so I chopped that up, and some pickles. So this is 0 points for everything. The potatoes did take a little bit in the oven. I had to keep moving them around. I had it preheated to 425, and they were in there for probably 30 minutes total. Once those were done, I topped them with the ground chicken, the chopped up pickles, the green onion, and then the sauce that I made. And the sauce is just non-fat plain Greek yogurt, and then you can have a tablespoon of Sweet Baby Ray's buffalo sauce for 0 points. So I mixed that, probably even a little bit less than a tablespoon. It is a little bit spicy, but that's what I'm expecting with this. I also mixed in some ranch seasoning from Trader Joe's to make it like a buffalo ranch sauce, but 0 points. It's about 520 calories, and it's got 49 grams of protein. So I'm going to have my apple for 0 points after I finish the bowl, and then I am most likely going to do an oat bake for dessert because I've been craving it ever since the last video I did with these, and I've actually made a couple since, but I wanted to do a new variation today, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. These oat bakes are really simple to put together, but they do take a little bit to bake, so I always make sure to preheat my oven first before I start making them. I start by mashing a banana, adding a container of no sugar added applesauce, 1 egg. Today I added a tablespoon of PB2. I didn't realize it was 0 points, so I decided to try that. And then 2 tablespoons of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I mix it all together until it's combined, and then I'm adding some of this Torani S'mores no sugar added syrup, as well as some of this Girl Scout s'mores seasoning. Once that's combined, I add some baking powder, a half cup of oats, some cinnamon, and I mix it all together before pouring it into a baking dish. This is my favorite IKEA glass baking dish. It's 8 by 6 by 2, and I just sprayed it with some nonstick spray. I top it with a little more of that s'more seasoning, and then I pop it in the oven to bake. Then I wanted to make the Greek yogurt drizzle. I just added some vanilla, a little bit of the cinnamon vanilla Torani sugar-free syrup, some cinnamon and Greek yogurt, and mix that together. And then I just drizzle it on top of the bake and enjoy. Okay, here is my dessert oat bake. I really wanted to use the s'mores sugar-free syrup, so I kind of just made a s'mores, but with a little bit of peanut butter flavor, maybe. I was able to use a tablespoon of the PB2 I had because it is 0 points for that serving. So I mixed that in with the mashed banana, egg, sugar-free applesauce, and then some other things, which I'll have the recipe typed out in the description, but I'm so excited to eat this. It smells so good right now. I also made a Greek yogurt drizzle that had a little bit of the cinnamon vanilla syrup that I got today. Again, 0 points on WeightWatchers. The Greek yogurt's also 0 points. Helps me to get a little extra protein to end the day. So it's always funny when I've got this many ingredients tracked for the day and then it says 0 points at the top, but I'm at 0 out of 24 dailies for today. But I did track every single ingredient so I could have the calories and other information. I ended the day having about 1,962 calories. I had 34 grams of fat, 267 carbs, 150 grams of protein, and 39 grams of fiber. So I never really have an issue hitting my fiber when it comes to these 0 point days. And actually protein was pretty good. I definitely am able to incorporate the lean meats and beans, which help with that. But anyway, that is going to wrap up my day of 0 point foods. I'm excited to have this to end the night, and I feel like it was just another great day of eating. I think that with these days, it's just a fun challenge, and I try to make the meals as flavorful as possible without the extra ingredients that I'm used to, like cheeses and even just like extra carbs and sauces and stuff like that. So it's always fun to do these. It's not something that you need to do, and it's not like a reset or anything for me. I just do them for fun to challenge myself making some 0 point recipes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.